Hello dear World of Warcraft friends, Wednesday is the day. Patch 12.0 of World of Warcraft Midnight will be released, and it comes with a ton of features. We have new zones, improvements for ritual sites and the Doctrine attacks, a new borrowed power feature, new story, new lore walking, and so there's really a lot included. In this video, we'll take a look at which content you can play starting Wednesday, and I'd say let's jump right in. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I'm grateful for any support. And with that, let's get to probably the most important part. These are Neigtal and Val. You can see them here right now. These are two new worlds that we can enter in World of Warcraft Midnight. And in the end, we face the leaders of the Doctrine here, so there are void mobs everywhere, and so on. It looks like this. You travel to Netherstorm, then find a portal here at the Howling Ridge, and each week one area is active. So that means in the first week it's Neigtal, then Val, and then it just keeps alternating. In these areas, just like in Midnight itself, you can complete world quests and kill rare mobs. There are new world bosses in each area. And especially there will be a heroic world difficulty level. So the whole thing is aimed at players with item level 270 and above. You can unlock it right at the entrance to the portal. So there you choose whether you want the heroic mode or not, and then the rewards are higher. For example, the world bosses on this difficulty level give HC loot instead of champion. The rare mobs also drop HC crests. So it's definitely worth using it if you have slightly better gear. You can see that at the top right of the minimap. If you're in one of these HC zones, it's also marked with this little skull on your world map. Apart from that, there are actually many other things. You can see here, this is the portal you use to enter. On the left side here is Neigtal. On the right, you can see Val. One is more mushroom themed, the other is icy. Then comes the Omnium Folio. We've already had several videos about that. In the end, it's this structure you see here. And it adds, a good bit more power to your character. So you can always choose from a total of 5 points. So there are 5 nodes. There you can choose from up to 4 points, and then you have a total of 5 enhancements active. For example, this ranges from void orbs that crash into your enemies all the way to secondary stats that you can choose. So if you want, you can add crit, haste, mastery, or versatility. So the whole thing can be highly customized, and it should give your character a decent power boost. You unlock it as usual. The quest line starts here in Silvermoon. You don't really have to do much questing for it. To unlock all 5 points, you have to do a new quest every week. We've already announced those as well. That takes about, I would say, anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes each, depending on when you do it. So it's not a huge amount, but you do have to play a bit. And that also leads you back, for example, to those Doctrine attacks, to the ritual sites. You have to complete some of those for the quest line as well. Exactly, and besides that, there's a new raid, Sporefall. The boss, Rodmeyer, is waiting for us there. And what's interesting here is that for the first time, there will be a Mythic flex raid. So the boss will be available in LFR, Normal, Heroic, and Mythic. The special thing this time is that you don't necessarily need 20 players for Mythic. Instead, you can take between 15 and 25 people and go into the raid with them. Also special, the boss drops item level 298 loot. For every armor class, there are basically 2 items with this item level. That makes the items best in slot loot for quite a few classes. And yes, we just have to see. Usually if you don't raid, you won't have access to this gear. But maybe this will be a boss that's super easy on Mythic with this flex raid, and can even be taken down by random groups. We'll just have to wait and see at this point. Other than that, there's also a small mount to earn here. To get it, lore walking is also being expanded. This time, you're traveling with Lily, whom we know from Mists of Pandaria, and we're focusing on the lore. So I think that could be very, very interesting. Usually these lore walking chapters take about 45 minutes to an hour, and if you take longer, maybe an hour and a half. And usually there's always a small reward for it, an achievement and a toy as well. At least that's how it was in the past. So for all the lore freaks, it's definitely quite interesting. Then in Sulaman, we can help a lore speaker hatch new eggs from Jana Janalay. It just says here that we will then welcome these little dragon hawks into the world. I assume there will be pets, mounts, and so on to get, so that could be quite interesting. The ritual sites and the Doctrine assaults will be further intensified. On the one hand, there is new loot to get from the vendors in Silvermoon. These are actually the same vendors we already have now. Here, for example, with Maren Silberschwinge, you can also buy specific heroic pieces for 750 field commendations. They will continue to exist as a currency. Other than that, yes, at the ritual sites, you can now select level 6. They actually drop Mythos crests now, so you can fully equip yourself with them. And in the end, yes, everything is just a little bit tougher. You see here on level 6, there are 5 Mythos crests and 10 heroic crests. There are new achievements for that. So, yeah, all in all, pretty cool. Other than that, there's the micro holiday. We've already reported on that several times. That's the Darkspear Run, a small community event, micro holiday, to raise awareness for the LGBTQ community. There are also various rewards for that. One of my highlights is this mount here, the Brood of Viranoth. Dragonflight will be time walking in the future, so you'll be able to experience 6 dungeons from Dragonflight in Time Walking, and Turbulent Timeways is coming back. However, all of this will only be available starting July 1, not at patch launch. That means you'll get a quest from the quest givers here in Silvermoon down here every week where you have to complete Time Walking dungeons. For that, you'll get heroic gear instead of normal gear. And there's a 30 XP buff when you've completed 4 time-walking dungeons. So on one hand, you can get a little excited about it. On the other hand, you get a lot of XP for alts. Included in the pool are Aljathar Academy, Halls of Infusion, Neltherus, Ruby Life Pools, Azure Vault, and Brackenhide Hollow. And here you can see the schedule. It starts on July 1st with Dragonflight. The following week is BFA Time Walking, then Shadowlands, then Classic, at the end of July Burning Crusade, and at the beginning of August Dragonflight again. That means the event lasts for 6 weeks. You need to get the Master of Timeways buff for 4 weeks to earn this mount. I think that should be doable. And then we also have a bit of story time. The next chapter of the story continues. We quest with Suljan. Here as well, everything starts from July 8th, so it's a bit time-gated. There are also quality of life add-ons or changes, for example, for the interface. So I read that for some things, you'll be able to set better sound cues and so on. All in all, it's a jam-packed patch with, in my opinion, a lot of really cool features. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think? Feel free to write it in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video and take care.